from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish, speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle's right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you weren't expecting to have a close Super Bowl last night. We had a Super Bowl last night, but it wasn't a close Super Bowl. It wasn't a competitive Super Bowl. Blowout in New Orleans. Eagles dominate the Chiefs 40-22. Final score. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes from now, Michael Eaves is going to join me. He, of course, hosts SportsCenter for ESPN. I'll talk all things Super Bowl with Michael Eaves. He's going to be here around 10:20. Finish talking to Mike, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know. At which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories among them. Yes, we're going to get to the Grizzlies. We'll get there. Rough weekend for our NBA franchise. Got blown out at home by the first place Thunder. Message received. I got it. I understand. We'll discuss it in about 40 minutes. Penny Hardaway's Tigers beat Temple on Sunday inside FedEx Forum. Revenge game. Got it done. So Memphis is now 20-4 on a 7-game winning streak. But the Tigers do continue to slip in the computers. I'll update you on those numbers. We'll do that a little later on in the show. Elsewhere in college basketball, Auburn and Duke both lost this weekend. So a lot of people on TV this weekend suggesting there's going to be a new number 1 in the AP poll. I'm not so sure. There shouldn't be, at least. I'll tell you why in just a bit. Anthony Davis is already hurt, and Nico Harrison needs security in Dallas.
Oh, my God.
Man, if you think you had a bad weekend, I mean, I guess you might have, but it probably wasn't worse than Nico's.
No.
You know, just law of averages and stuff. Probably not worse than Nico's. Wild situation. Tell you more about that in just a bit. And we got a run of movie trailers during last night's Super Bowl.
Thank you for giving me this.
I know Bennett loves this. I'll be honest. I don't even remember any of them.
Yeah,
but
I barely do.
But what stood out? That's what I'm going to ask Bennett.
I got you. Yep.
That's what I'm going to ask Bennett. We'll do it during a segment. We call 5 more things you need to know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carry out. We'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with the Super Bowl. It was played down in New Orleans. It was not competitive. Final score, Eagles 40, Chiefs 22. Bennett, did you know this was a mismatch? And if so, why didn't you tell me?
Okay, I thought the Chiefs were going to win.
Okay.
Like most of America. But I did recognize that the Eagles were loaded. Like they had an amazing roster. That defense. Shout out to the Eagles defense. I had an anytime touchdown.
They were all over. And an anytime touchdown by a defensive back that looks like me.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Man, give me some numbers on that.
That's good stuff right there. Yeah, the numbers are in my pocket right now, buddy.
Okay, Bennett's rich.
No, it was a good night. That was nice. I was screaming when that happened, actually. So that made the night. But yeah, man, I mean, I thought that defense was amazing. This is probably the 2 best defenses in the league playing against each other, if we're being honest.
Well, one looked better than the other one. I'll tell you that.
One did look way better than the other one. And they just blitzed them, dude. Like, it was over pretty quickly. And yeah, I thought the Eagles, had the roster to compete with them and make it a competitive game. But ultimately, I just thought, Patrick Mahomes is going to become Patrick Mahomes at some point and win the game for them. And it just did not happen. I mean, he had some nice plays late in that game, but it was already well over.
He became Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Not only did he not become Patrick Mahomes, he became Zach Wilson.
They got after him.
Or no, Will Levis.
Brother,
the dude turned into Will Levis.
They got after him. And it's funny because, I'm looking at, the prop bets and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, this is probably going to be one of those, defensive, run the football, slugfest kind of games. I thought it was going to be like that coming into it. I didn't think it was going to be, just air it out, high-flying offenses. I didn't think it was going to be like that. But I noticed that, the Chiefs running backs, it was the odds were extremely favorable for them to have very minimal yardage, and I was like, that's interesting that they're not projected to do anything really by the betting markets.
Well, the Chiefs were favored to win the game, and I think their team total was 20 4 in that range. So this was not supposed to be some shootout. And obviously the Chiefs didn't even reach that number, but the Eagles went way over. I know Tom Brady gets mixed reviews as a color commentator. And honestly, I haven't paid enough attention to him to have a good opinion on that. I'm just not the type who's sitting around all day on Sunday watching the NFL. It is on if I'm home, but it's just background. I don't care that much. I'm interested in the big stories, and I know enough to talk about it when I choose to talk about it. But I don't have a fantasy football team. Mm-hmm. I'm not I have Sunday ticket, but I don't get good use out of it.
Yeah.
So I know he's gotten mixed reviews as a color commentator. I don't listen to him enough to know whether he's good or not good. But I did think he added some real value to last night's broadcast because he could talk about things because if you've ever worked on a game, I'm going to be on the sideline for a game on Wednesday, Arizona State, Texas Tech, and we'll have production meetings, and this will come up at some point. All right, if we get into a blowout, what are we going to do to try to keep the audience engaged? And they'll say, all right, GP, we might just come to you on the AP poll and we'll update it. We might just come to you on bracketology. Hey, GP, how many Big 12 teams do you think going to get these?
Right.
So you got to have things to talk about if the game's 68-41. Mm-hmm. And so we get into a blowout last night where the play calling on any particular play ain't that important anymore. This game's over. We're all watching an over game. And they were able to use Tom Brady, and I thought in a way that I thought was really good. Hey, what's this like? Mm-hmm. Who else knows? How many people in the world know what it's like to be favored in a Super Bowl and then get humbled in that way? Tom Brady understands what Patrick Mahomes is going through. Mm-hmm. And I thought that a little bit of it was overkill. Like they had Brady and Mahomes do the pregame conversation, and Tom's like, man, I'm rooting for you so hard. And I don't know that there's anything I know about Tom Brady that makes me think he really wants Patrick Mahomes to pass him on the go.
No, Brady had a great night.
It was a good night for Tom Brady.
It was a great night for Tom Brady.
It was a great night for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But I just thought I found that compelling. Hey, let's just keep teeing Tom Brady up on what it's like to be in this position, what it's like to feel this. Not many humans have felt this.
Right.
And then I thought it was interesting very early on, Brady was talking about, you ready? Not Patrick Mahomes' arm, his feet. Look at his feet. He kept emphasizing he's not comfortable. Every time he takes a snap, he's not comfortable because he doesn't know where he don't trust his line. He's getting like you can't go empty backfield anymore because he's getting chased out of there too quickly. I just thought Brady, in terms of his entire performance, I don't know. I just thought he made some good points that I found helpful from an analyst perspective. But the game got out of hand very quickly, and I sort of tweeted, it felt like the 2021 national championship game in college basketball, where you have this one team that everybody has said is the best forever, and they're going for something unprecedented. For the Chiefs last night, it would have been the first team to ever three-peat Super Bowl. For Gonzaga in 2021, it had been the first team ever to go undefeated, 40-0 national champion. We've had other national champions undefeated, but never 40-0. And they were going to be the first one in modern history. And we just sort of talked about it like Gonzaga. And tonight's the night. The Zags make history. Tonight's the night. We see something we've never seen before. Yesterday, it was the Chiefs three-peat. In 2021, it was the Zags 40-0. And then the game started and almost immediately was like, oh, wow, we got this all wrong. This team's better than that team, and it's not close. If you go back and watch that Baylor-Gonzaga game, just watch the first 10 minutes. It's like you're watching two levels of basketball. You couldn't have imagined it going in. I'm sure somebody did, but I didn't, and most didn't. Gonzaga's favored to win the game. The story's supposed to be the Zags being the first 40-0 national champion, and they got overwhelmed from the jump. Athletically, physically, they couldn't deal with what they had to deal with. And that's what that looked like last night.
Yeah, man.
The Chiefs are chasing history. First franchise to ever three-peat. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, Taylor Swift. Now the game started. Oh, you're in trouble. It felt over. Not when it was 7-0, but it felt like they're going to have to, unless Philadelphia starts putting the ball on the ground or throwing the ball away or something, this is going to be hard for Kansas City. And then when the Eagles, and I love this, when they had a shot to kill him, they killed him. It was like, you run this out, or no, you want to kill him. Let's kill him. that killed them. Awesome performance.
It really was. Yeah, that's going to go down as one of the great teams. And, you know, it was cool for I was honestly happy for Saquon, like, just because, you know, he's like, he was the big piece, right, that they added. I mean, a lot of those guys were there a couple seasons ago. And you know, the fact that he was, dude, another thing, I tweeted this last night. There is just nothing like, and I'm wearing my Titans hat today, there is just nothing like the two best receivers in recent Titans history going up against it. Both scored in the game last night, DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Brown. So that was pretty painful. But otherwise, a good night. I'm looking at like all my notes because like I wanted to be able to remember stuff coming in here today. And one of them says, got hammered and set off my fire alarm.
You set your fire alarm off last night.
I did set my fire alarm.
You got to be a little more careful. You got to be a little more.
I feel good today, though.
You got
took a couple of Tylenol. I feel great.
Yeah, Tylenol fix a lot of things, buddy. Yeah. Tylenol fix a lot of things. So, congratulations to the Eagles. Awesome performance in the Super Bowl. The game felt over by halftime, but you know we still had something to look forward to. And for me, at least, that was the halftime show. Kendrick Lamar, SZA. It was just 15 minutes of rap. He just decided to go rap.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised because, well, first off, I was a little let down because they were teasing like a big surprise. And it was cool with Samuel L. Jackson, but I thought it was going to be like some special like performance.
I feel like when they start saying in a big surprise, you need to have. I think they would argue it was maybe Serena.
Oh yeah, because she was on stage. Yeah, that was
like
cool.
Drake's ex-girlfriend crip walking.
No, that's
to not
pretty
like
cool.
us. I think that was probably the big surprise. But when you say big surprise, people are thinking, is he going to bring Wayne out, or is it going to be Taylor? I mean, he's collaborated with so many people. It could have been Rihanna. It could be anybody. He's collaborated with so many big stars, and really, it was just him. He made it about him. The only thing he said about the performance in advance of the performance, because they said, what should we expect? And he said storytelling, and he left it there. Storytelling. That's what you should expect. I'm going to tell a story, and that's what he did. I did not anticipate him using that stage to just rub it in Drake's face, but that is what he did. He used that stage to rap, to really rap, and to rub it in Drake's face, to end Drake. And I know the reviews are mixed, but that was always going to be the case.
Yeah.
Always. Because you had a black rapper from Compton, California on the biggest stage in the world, where a decent percentage of the audience don't know who he is, don't care about the Kendrick Drake beef, not even really aware of it, might have heard Not Like Us in passing, but you know, if you're of a certain age, you're just not, you don't know what you're watching. That is not, if you let the Super Bowl do the set list, that's not the set list they put on. He opened, this is all you need to know. The first words you hear of the Super Bowl performance are literally from a song that's never been released. All right? He played Euphoria. It's not even on an album. He won a Pulitzer for Damn and barely touched it. There's nothing off Mr. Morale, nothing off Good Kid, Mad City, nothing off To Pimp a Butterfly. This was not made for your mom or my mom. And so just watching the reaction last night, and they even played into it. If you watch, Samuel L. Jackson is narrating the story. And at one point, even like tells Kendrick, you're being too black. You need to tighten up. And that's when he plays humble. Because, hey, here's one you might have heard. Here's one you might have seen at the Grammys. But then now we're going right back to where we were. I mean, he opens the whole thing on a GNX. It was made for a very specific purpose. And as I'm watching all the Twitter reviews, Facebook reviews come in, I couldn't help but think, have you seen the Bob Dylan movie yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, but you've seen biopics about musical artists before.
Sure.
The Elvis Presley one. Any of them. You know what they all have? There's always a moment in these movies, the Elvis movie, the Bob Dylan movie, any movie about a big artist. There's always a moment where, you know what? You know, there's like a scene. We gotta have at least 3 minutes for this, maybe 11, but this is part of the story. You know what it is? Old white people don't understand what they're watching. In every Bob Dylan plugs in a guitar and old white people lose their minds. What is this? I don't even understand what's going on. There has never been a great act that old white people didn't understand initially. Beatles. The Beatles were recognized as the greatest band of all time. They played at the Mid-South Coliseum, and there were protests outside.
That's right.
All right?
That's right.
This is music. This is art. There's a long tradition of old white people not understanding what they're watching in real time, but then you get it eventually. So I was watching all this, and it's just, I had some people like, what do you think? Unless I have I don't really care what. I saw a lot of the commentary last night, and it's just like, okay, but why would I care what that person thinks about this? They just don't understand what they're watching, which is fine, but they don't understand what they're watching. Like if you are looking forward to your next Morgan Wallen concert, you were not going to understand what you were watching last night. So it just went over people. I saw Roser tweet last night or this morning, whenever it was, but he was like, go back and watch it a second time and you'll see things you didn't see, notice things I thought it was fabulous. Not what I expected. More grittier than I expected. But if you thought Patrick Mahomes had a bad night, Drake had a worse one.
Oh, yeah, I think that's fair. No, I enjoyed the halftime show. I'm with you. Like, I like all kinds of music and dig all kinds of music and like seeing different things. And, like, dude, there's obviously a reason that the NFL made Kendrick Lamar the halftime show, right?
Like if you watch that and you didn't understand it, that's fine. You don't have to understand things. Yeah. I can walk into the Louvre and not understand what I'm looking at. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. If you didn't understand it, that's fine. But just know that's what it is. You just didn't understand what you were watching.
Yeah.
And
people have different tastes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But, like, if your tastes are taking you to show me your Spotify year in rap list.
Yeah.
All right? And then I can tell you whether your opinion matters to me on the subject of what we watched last night. Like, if your Spotify list looks a certain way, then that was not for you. And, like, they even told you it wasn't for you. Go listen to every word Samuel L. Jackson said. He's narrating the story saying, man, this is not what you should be doing at the Super Bowl. This is not, man, there's a lot of people out there that are wondering what's going on right now.
Yeah.
He's actually, they leaned into it. They knew what they were doing. I loved it. Michael Eaves is up next.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Memphis Cat is back with his Heaven on Earth tour.
I tried to be incognito, but thanks to Shannon Sharp's loud mouth, the gig is up.
February 22nd in the FedEx Forum.
In my spare time, I infiltrate the Illuminati, look for their secrets, run back, tell y'all.
Don't miss this year's most talked about comedy icon live. He's back with brand new material, an unmatched wit, and an electrifying performance. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzlies stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
I did a video and I thought it was pretty funny, and I said, well, I'm gonna post it on TikTok and see what it does. You know, we watched Alabama beat Miami. We had no idea the video was blowing up the whole time we were beating Miami, or we would have kept doing it. Yeah. So I told Tide roll. The Tide, tell them, Willie. Tide roll, baby. That's what they do.
We always gonna get beat because you cannot mess with the Tide.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Is Hulkamania officially dead?
Yes.
When you have over 17,000 people live and you have Netflix premiere the biggest day in WWE history, and meanwhile they boo him out of the building?
Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you!
That is your core audience, and they don't want it.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
When's the last time you guys played a little one-on-one?
It was, I don't even know, like maybe last summer, and there's some footage out there that doesn't want to be released. Like, he claims he took it easy on me, but I always beat him.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough studio, and on Mondays in the second segment, I'm joined by ESPN's Michael Eaves. You see him on SportsCenter, and he's here right now. I know you had a late night last night, like most of us, so I appreciate you being here. Yeah. How you doing on this Monday morning?
Not too bad, man. Feeling pretty good.
So we had a Super Bowl last night. It was not competitive. There were people all season who were discounting what the Chiefs were doing from a record perspective by continually pointing out, yeah, but they're just barely winning these games. They're maybe not as good as the record indicates. And I wasn't one of those people, but if I were, I might be patting myself on the back this morning because it looked like the Chiefs were not what their record suggested they were. What did you make of what we watched last night?
Well, let me say this. Their record was who they were. Okay. But you can only play who's on your schedule, right? And only thing that really matters is wins and losses. So with that being said, they were clearly the best team in the AFC and one of the best teams in the entire NFL. The issue is, once they got to the Super Bowl, the best team they played all year was the Philadelphia Eagles. Everyone who looked at those rosters going into that game, if you would have taken the logos and team names off and just looked at the talent on the rosters, everyone would have said Philadelphia had more overall talent, top to bottom, than the Chiefs did. But you were saying, but these are the two-time defending champion Kansas City Chiefs, led by maybe the guy that could go down as the greatest quarterback of all time, and they are going for an unprecedented three-peat. So you have to give them credit because of who they are and what they've already done. But what happened in this matchup, it was just straight talent over talent, and the Eagles were the better team, plain and simple, and they played like it.
I tweeted this last night just because it sort of popped in my head, and I didn't know. It felt to me like the 2021 championship game of the NCAA tournament between Baylor and Gonzaga, where leading up to it, all we were talking about is this one team has a chance to make history. For the Zags in that moment, it was to be the first 40-0 national champion. They were ranked number one. They were favored in the game. And then when the game started, almost immediately, it was like, oh, God, they are not built for this. Yep. They can't handle this. That's what it looked like to me last night. We spent all day, or at least I did, thinking about Chiefs, three-peat, history. And then as soon as the game started, it was like they are in trouble.
Because the most important matchup in this particular game was the Eagles' defensive line against the Chiefs' offensive line. And that offensive line in Kansas City has been the question mark during this entire dynasty. Even though they've been able to overcome it more times than not, It's always been the question mark. And this year more so than even if you go back to when they lost to the Buccaneers, that was 31-9. Why? Because the pressure from Tampa made Patrick Mahomes look like an average quarterback, if not worse, than the future Hall of Famer that he is. Same exact thing happened in this game, and you saw it as soon as the game started, and that's where the concern was if you were Kansas City, and that concern never went away because they kept getting to Patrick Mahomes, and they did not blitz him, Gary, not one single time, because they didn't have to. They were getting pressure on him with 4 rushers. They sacked him 6 times and pressured him another 16 times. And that offense in Kansas City never got rolling.
And that's why it feels like, sometimes we watch a sporting event, any game, and we say, man, if you played that again, it just wouldn't go that way again. Kentucky-Oakland in last season's NCAA tournament. I'm convinced you play that same game the next night, it goes differently. And John Calipari is probably still the coach at Kentucky. But what happened, happened. My point is this. Yeah. It felt like what we watched last night, if we did that game again next week, it would go similarly. Perhaps not as bad for Kansas City, but that was one where the better team showed itself from start to finish, and I don't think we get a different result too many times.
No, and let's flip it to the other side, too. So it's one thing how much the Philadelphia Eagles defense dominated Kansas City, but the Chiefs defense also could not stop Jalen Hurts and company because Saquon Barkley did not go off. He only had 57 yards rushing. The best rusher we've seen in football in a long time only had 57 yards, and they still put up 40 points. Now, granted, 7 of them came from an interception return for a touchdown, but that offense, led by Jalen Hurts, Chiefs defense on their heels the entire night. So, again, it's not just one aspect that dominated this game. It was the overall team of Philadelphia being superior to Kansas City.
Like you and I have talked about before, obviously me and my family and my kids are being raised as Grizzlies fans. They're being raised as Mets fans. That comes from me, for better or worse. We don't have a favorite NFL franchise because I've never had one. We just sort of watch football. They have gravitated toward Patrick Mahomes because he is this generation's Michael Jordan. He just is. The way people all over America gravitated to Jordan once upon a time, Patrick Mahomes is that guy now in sports. But beyond that, we don't have any rooting interest. And so last night, I'm just sort of watching. And I couldn't help but get caught up in the Jalen Hurts story. I love that my kids love Patrick Mahomes. I want to talk to them about Jalen Hurts because there's so much better. This guy was benched in a national championship game in a way that he has acknowledged had him crying in his hotel room afterward with his father, even though they just won the game. He won a national championship and felt like hell. Had to transfer from his dream school. To ever go from that to be holding an MVP in the Super Bowl is crazy. And like the Patrick Mahomes story, that's just be amazingly gifted. That's his story. The Jalen Hurts story, there's so much more there. I loved watching him get this moment last night.
Yeah, because the average person can relate more to Jalen Hurts than they can to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Because his story is all about being doubted, people telling you what you were not as opposed to what you were, and then having to persevere through all of that to still chase after your goals when everyone is telling you that you're not good enough to achieve them. All right. More people can relate to that than what Patrick Mahomes has done in his career. I mean, this dude, to your point, benched, then had to come back and rescue Alabama after Tua got hurt, won that game, still had to transfer, turned himself into a Heisman finalist. But in that draft class of quarterbacks, he wasn't even a first-round draft pick, was second round, went to Philadelphia, didn't start immediately like those other guys did. And then even when he led the team to a Super Bowl 2 years ago and lost by 3 to, again, a guy we may consider to be the best of all time in Patrick Mahomes, they were doubting him. And he played great in that game. But then he turned around in this game and plays superbly. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes. There's no question about that. He outplayed him in this game. He never looked rattled. He made all the right decisions besides that one poor throw and an interception was basically a punt. But nonetheless, he had 3 touchdowns in this game. He was the MVP. And to all the people who always said what he could not do, he looked at all of them in the face, ignored them, and then went out and did that very thing.
I love it. Love it. Talking to Michael Eaves here on the Gary Parrish Show. There were some reports yesterday, I think Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, suggested that we could watch Travis Kelce's last football game tonight. And we might have, who knows. But would the way the game unfolded, and I'm asking you to get in another man's head, and that's always complicated, but if you were Travis Kelce and you were leaning toward calling it a career, would the way last night went impact your decision in any way?
Well, it depends on where he was in that decision-making process. Let me preface my statement by saying that. If he'd already made his mind up, it's kind of hard to go back and change your mind. If he was waffling or still not sure, he ain't going out like that. Right. As a competitor, when you know there's only so many games you have on your body anyway, right? If you believe you can still play at a high level, you don't want to lose your last game like that. And so that may be more motivation for him to better than it would have been if he went out having won 3 straight Super Bowls, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of, if you win 3 straight, it's easy to walk into the sunset with that on your resume. But to lose like that in that fashion, that's hard for a true competitor to take. It really is. And, oh, by the way, I'm going back to the Chiefs with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And now Patrick is pissed at the way he lost as well. No, I'm coming back because I want to win another one to even add more credibility to my resume. And I believe, get into the man's head, it would be more motivating to come back than to go ahead and leave.
I think that would be for me too, except that I've seen people go down that path and it ends up like here's one thing I've noticed about the end of careers. We spend a lot of time imagining how they should be, but we rarely look back at them and care at all. Like, I don't remember the end of Michael Jordan's career. I mean, I know what it looked like, but I don't really – it has impacted Michael Jordan's legacy in no way whatsoever. I'm not sure – like, I remember Tom Brady's last game, kind of. I know it wasn't in a Patriots uniform. That doesn't impact his – tell me if I'm wrong here, but we spend more time imagining how somebody's unbelievable career should end, ideally, and in reality, most of them don't end that way, and it doesn't usually matter.
Well, one, because we want good stories, right? So we root for those endings to careers for those who are icons and Hall of Famers, right? I mean, John Elway went out on top. I mean, that's one of the rare cases where it actually comes to fruition that way. But for the individual athlete themselves, Gary, it's how they want to give themselves an opportunity to go out, especially if they believe they can still compete at the highest of levels. They always believe they're going to succeed more than they're going to fail, right? So in their mind, if they do come back, they're probably going to have a chance to win again, as opposed to getting dumped in the playoffs in the first round. No one imagines that if you're a competitor at that level, right? So it's their idea of how their career should end or how they would want it to end that would motivate him to come back and try to get to the Super Bowl yet again.
Last thing before I get you out of here, every website is going to put together a winners and losers list after a Super Bowl. Winners, Eagles, obviously. Losers, Chief. Winner, Kendrick. Loser, Drake. Winner, Tom Brady. And it was interesting because they had this sit down between Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady pregame, and Tom's like, and nobody's rooting harder for you than me. And I'm like, do we believe that? Do we believe that Tom Brady really wanted Patrick Mahomes to become the first quarterback to ever three-peat? Or is there something about the competitive nature of Brady who didn't mind that result last night being what it was?
Here's the thing. We don't know.
Right.
Because, Tom has been, so fake, I think, at times during his career. When he was a player, he always tried to say the right thing, try to stay away from anything controversial. And then now, he's at a different stage in his life, both professionally and personally. So we don't know how genuine some of this stuff is. I want to believe him that he was really rooting for history to be made. And if someone's going to make it, he wanted Patrick Mahomes to do it because of the respect he has for him as a player and maybe even as a person. So in that regard, we want to believe it, but we don't know because Tom has been fake before, right? I do believe, though, typically as athletes get older and once they get removed from the game, they get a little more honest and allow their true personalities to come out a bit more. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt in that. I believe he will always think he's the greatest quarterback of all time, even if Mahomes, gets more than 7 Super Bowls and MVPs. That's one thing. But to root for someone else's success, you can still do that out of humility, but also respect.
That is Michael Eaves from ESPN. Make sure you're watching him on SportsCenter. Follow him on X at Michael Eaves. That's at Michael Eaves. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, brother. Sounds good.
All right. That's Michael Eaves from ESPN. Bennett, let me ask you that. Do you think Tom Brady genuinely, because this is what he said, hey, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you, Patrick. Mm-hmm. Do you think he's actually rooting for Patrick Mahomes?
Hell no.
I don't think so.
Stop, dude. He loves that legacy. He cares about that legacy.
He does.
Him and Belichick wear those rings. Belichick was out with all the rings on his fingers at the thing the other night. Brady's always got his rings on. They care about that legacy. And Patrick Mahomes obviously still has a long career ahead of him. He's still a young guy, but like that really hindered him in being able to catch Brady. It did. I mean,
well, you only get so many shots at these things.
You only get so many shots, and especially in the AFC.
That's one that, in theory, I know what happened. And if we played that game again tonight, the Chiefs would not be favored.
Right.
All right. It'd be Philadelphia minus 2.5 or whatever. But how often are you going to be favored to win a Super Bowl?
That's right. I mean,
and you were last night, and you it's a missed out. You don't get that back.
Yeah. Not to mention, I mean, that you've still got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow there. Like, you don't think one of those guys is going to break through eventually? Is Patrick Mahomes going to hold those three guys down all their entire careers? I don't believe that. Like, one of them's going to get there ahead of him 1 year. So that's another year that you don't get.
Oh, and he's going to be hurt 1 year.
Oh, you're going to get hurt 1 year. Yeah. I mean, it's
and then you're going to look up and you're 38.
Yeah. That's why winning the 2 in a row was so impressive, right? And even getting there for this one, and the fact that he didn't win it. Yeah. I mean, I think that, listen, he's still going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. Is he ever going to pass Brady? I'm not so sure now.
Yeah, I'm not so. There's just so many variables.
Get that sneeze out. Get that sneeze out if you need to.
I've been struggling.
Get that sneeze out, bro.
Can you tell I've been sick?
I saw you hold it in.
Can you tell I've been sick all weekend?
Dude, it was a long weekend, man.
Everybody in my house has been sick to different degrees.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. A lot of coughing.
Yeah.
A lot of coughing around the Parrish household this weekend.
Yeah, I got you.
With Brady, here's what I think is probably true. Of course, on some level, you want to always be considered the GOAT. And the biggest threat to that label is Patrick Mahomes. So how in the world would you be rooting for him? It's not like you're rooting against. I'm just speaking practically here. You don't have a Patrick Mahomes voodoo doll in your bedroom, I don't think. But you really like being considered the greatest quarterback of all time. The biggest threat, and maybe the only threat alive right now to you, is Patrick Mahomes. Not that you're rooting against him, but I like this. I like being the GOAT.
Yeah.
And the only guy that can take this from me is him.
Right.
So I don't want him to take this from me. Isn't it natural just to maybe not root against Patrick Mahomes, but go Eagles?
Yeah.
Of course it is. And yet, if I were Tom Brady, that's the way I would feel. It is never what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'd say every time? I would say things like this. Patrick Mahomes, that might be the greatest quarterback I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't do half the stuff he would do. I would talk. Don't you believe? I've noticed this. When older players talk positively about current players, it just comes off way better. It just sounds better and cooler. And
oh, yeah, for sure.
Like you listen to like Shaquille O'Neal talk about current players.
That was the exact example I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Go listen to Shaquille O'Neal talk about current players, and then go listen to Kevin Garnett talk about current players.
Uh-huh.
It's like they're watching two different things.
Yep.
You know what Kevin Garnett says? In the most enthusiastic way? That MF is the best MF I've ever seen in my life.
That's right.
According to Kevin Garnett, every time he watches a TNT doubleheader, he's just seen the most amazing young player he's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Just be so secure in yourself that you're comfortable tipping your hat to the next round of amazing people.
Yep.
That Jaren Jackson is awesome doesn't mean that Kevin Garnett wasn't awesome. And Kevin Garnett seems comfortable talking about that, or Wembanyama, or whatever. Whereas so many of the other older players, they just want to hate nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
I am always impressed when I see somebody's record about to be broken and it feels like they're actually not offended by it. Or at least that's the public face they're putting on. I think Barry Sanders had a record somewhere and was very publicly encouraging the person to go break it.
Yeah.
There was the John Cena moment after the Royal Rumble. I know this is just wrestling stuff, but John Cena said, I want to go to WrestleMania and I want to win a title for the 17th time because nobody's ever done that. And I'm not winning it so that I can be a 17-time world champion. I'm winning it so I'll be the person who's there to shake the hand of the person who does it someday for the 18th time. I like that attitude more. I don't know that Tom Brady actually subscribes to that, but he's trying to say the right stuff at least.
I think so too.
It doesn't come off as believable for him. Maybe that's the problem. He's so, and Michael Eaves used the term robot. He really doesn't even look like a real person anymore.
Oh, I mean, they even had a commercial last night where he's a robot. Yeah. I liked that too, like the self-deprecating. Yeah.
But like everything about him seems very, like he's faith. And I'm not like he's a beautiful man. I wish I looked like Tom Brady, you know? But he just doesn't even look like he doesn't look real. And so I don't believe.
I mean, he paid for that, but
of course he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a real person. He's trying to say the same right things, but I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
I don't believe me.
I don't believe him. But I like it when former athletes are more complimentary than not.
Yeah, I do too. Also, last thing that we haven't mentioned yet, I didn't appreciate them booing Taylor. I didn't appreciate that.
We're just a weird, mean country.
I didn't appreciate that. That was mean.
Yeah.
And she's from Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
She was once an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Eagles fans definitely took over New Orleans.
Yes.
It was very heavy Eagles.
Well, what you had last night, there's a dynamic in place. And there's a football game happening, but also over here there's President Trump, and over here there's Taylor Swift. And if you feel super strongly about one of them, you probably don't like the other one.
I think they should have put them together in a suite.
That'd have been tough.
I think they should have put them together.
There was the scene like,
let's bring the country together.
I don't know if that's going to work.
Bring the country together.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know if you've been paying attention, but it doesn't seem like that's working so well. The whole bringing the country together. That hadn't worked in a while.
I'm working on it.
You're working on it?
Yeah, I'm working on
There
it.
was the scene where President Trump pregame was like walking around the field, like greeting players. And I saw some people wondering, like, if you're Travis Kelce, how do you handle that? If you were Travis Kelce and President Trump approached you, how would you handle that?
Oh, I've said this before to you. Like, no matter who's in office, like if I was in that situation, I would want to meet the president. I would want to go to the White House.
I understand
would want to meet the president.
I understand that, but this is a little different in the sense that wouldn't be a president that you didn't vote for, theoretically.
Yeah.
This is a president who has literally said awful stuff about your girlfriend.
Well, that's true. That's that.
About the woman,
fair.
About the woman you probably think is going to be your wife
That's
and the
pretty
mother of your
specific,
children.
yeah.
This person has said awful things about her. How would you handle that?
I still might shake the president.
In truth, you know what I would do?
I might take the high road and shake the president's hand.
I would either shake the president's hand or avoid it completely. I would just hey, the president's right over there. Okay, cool. I'm going to this corner of the field. I would avoid the whole situation, but I would not turn it into a thing. I would be respectful of the moment. This is the president of the United States. Like, I didn't vote for the guy, obviously, but I think I would be respectful of the moment because I would just, what's the alternative? Avoid his handshake, like turn away from him. Well, now I just went viral, and now I'm gonna have to talk about it after the game.
Right.
It's just I'd leave it where probably I don't know. I had that thought. Like, if you're Travis Kelce, it's one thing if you just have different political views, but this is a man who's talking crazy about your wife, future wife, perhaps.
By the way, do you think he's going to retire?
I don't know. I don't know.
I leaned yes going into it. Now, after the way that went down, I wonder if he doesn't. Like, I wonder if he kind of maybe does the Rob Gronkowski thing where he's like, maybe he starts the season retired and comes back or something like that. I don't see him necessarily playing like a full NFL season, just every snap kind of thing. But I think he's still going to be part of that thing if they get there next year.
Here's what I would tell him if I were advising him. Not that he needs advice from me. I would say you don't even think about this for a month.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you think today. You don't know what you think today. It's still too fresh. Today's February 10th. I'd say call me March 10th. Let's talk. And just enjoy your amazing life for the next month. Heal a little bit. I'm sure he's beaten up. He's a football player. And let's talk on March 10th, and then let's see where we're at. And if he ever told me, I hated this past season, I hated going to work, it wasn't fun, I would say then you don't need to go back to prove anything. Like, you don't need to end it a different way. Nobody's really going to remember how it ended. It doesn't matter to anybody's career. Tom Brady's career ended. Oh, you're a football fan. How did Tom Brady's career end? Tell me right now. Do you know?
He won a Super Bowl.
No, that's not how it ended. He won a Super Bowl, then he came back and played, and he was terrible.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He came back and sucked.
Tom Brady's last game was... Go ahead.
It was just a regular season game, wasn't it?
I think it was like a wild card game.
It was a wild card game.
This is my point. This is my point. I'm not trying to catch you off guard. I'm trying to prove a point. You watch football every day. You have no idea.
Right.
I have a vague memory of it. I think it was a wild card type. I don't know. That's my point. It does like it. The whole I can't walk away like that doesn't really matter. Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time. Tell me about his last game. Do you remember it?
That's a good point. No.
You know whose you probably do remember? Kobe's, because it was a spectacle.
Yeah, and he scored 60 points.
Like he went bananas, took all the shots. There's stars everywhere in the crowd. You kind of remember Kobe's last game.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the stuff you don't remember how it ends. We talk so much about
That's true.
how important it is the way it ends. And we don't really ever remember how it ends unless it's John Elway or Peyton Manning winning a Super Bowl. But if that's the way Travis Kelce's career ended, how different is it than Tom Brady's or Michael Jordan's or most people's? We won't even, 30 years from now, somebody younger than us will be sitting right here. And they'll be like, how did Travis Kelce? It's like, maybe it was, did they lose to the Eagles? It won't even matter.
Yeah.
It won't. So the common thread between the people I know who have more money than they need and walked away from a job, because that's what this would be, walking away from a job, earlier than you might have anticipated they would, or earlier than they otherwise would. The common thread, I'm talking about, you can talk to Jay Wright, who retired at Villanova at a young age, Tony Bennett, Adrian Wojnarowski at ESPN. You can have conversations with all these people. You know what they will tell you happened? They didn't enjoy the job anymore, and they didn't need to do it anymore because they were financially secure. Like I talked to Woj at length about this. You know what Woj will tell you? I couldn't live another day staring at my phone nonstop. I couldn't miss another holiday. I didn't want to live. Woj left $20 million on the table. Guaranteed money. He just left it. I got enough. But I'm not living this life anymore. I don't like going to work. If once you have, this is just easy. Once you have enough money where you don't have to work, the only reason you should be working is if you enjoy it. Most people got up today and went to work because they got a mortgage. And if they don't go to work today, they ain't gonna be able to pay that mortgage. That's why most people go to work. Once you get to a point where you don't have to pay your mortgage anymore, unless you enjoy what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it. So that would be my first question to Travis Kelce. You have hundreds of millions of dollars and your future wife is a billionaire. You ain't working for money anymore. You just got to figure out how you want to spend your days. For somebody like him, that's really all it is. How do you want to spend your days? It's quite literally up to you. And if he says, I want to spend my days playing football. Because there are football players who want to spend their days playing football. That's all they want to do. Tom Brady was like that for a long time. If he said, I want to play football, then go play football. But if he even hinted at the idea of, man, last year we won a lot of games, but I hated going to work. I liked competing, but I didn't like getting ready to compete. That's the key. Most people like playing in the games. Do you like doing all the stuff you got to do to get ready for the games? That's going to be the point LeBron gets to someday. I just don't like doing all the stuff I got to do to get ready to play a basketball game. So I'm done with this.
Yeah. I just noticed your shirt. It's a great shirt.
Found it on the internet.
It's a great shirt.
It's Kendrick with Drake in a stroller.
Just put a little salt in the wound the day after, huh?
So if Travis Kelce told me I didn't enjoy going, that's the main question I would ask. Did you enjoy going to work last year? What do you mean? I mean going to work. Everything that entails. That means getting in the gym. That means in the sauna. That means the treatment. That means everything about it. Did you enjoy it? Not really. Then you don't need to do this anymore. That's what it comes down to. I don't know what he'll do, but those are the things he should be thinking through. I wish him luck.
Me too.
I wish him luck.
Me too.
Be back with 5 more things.
Okay.
Sitting right next to me, am I right? The one and only Jay Huff. Were you comfortable there in your seat?
I'm great. I've been adjusting it, playing around with the height settings.
What are you exactly? 7'1" or 7 even? Or
I say 7'2" because I wear shoes.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
if I was a high school player, or if, let's say I'm the father of a child who's 16 years old, and Mike Vick comes knocking on my kid's door, and Virginia's there also, and so is Virginia Tech, I'm like, yo, you gotta go where Vick is. You gotta go to Norfolk State.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning into HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom now. A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time.
What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Is Hulkamania officially dead?
Yes.
When you have over 17,000 people live and you have Netflix premiere the biggest day in WWE history, and meanwhile they boo him out of the building?
Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you!
That is your core audience, and they don't want it.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
I put it off as long as I could.
Yeah, good. Good on you.
I mean, I took it to 10:53. That's about as good as I could do.
I was trying to come in here and have some laughs and some fun. You know,
I put it off as long as I could.
Thank you.
But at some point, we got to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And the elephant in the room is that the Oklahoma City Thunder came to downtown Memphis on Saturday night and kicked the shit out of the Grizzlies. Woo!
Accurate. That is accurate.
125 to 112 was your final score, and buddy, it wasn't that close.
I saw it with my own eyes, man.
It wasn't that close.
That was rough.
If you were planning on spending your Saturday night watching your Memphis Grizzlies play a competitive basketball game, and then your Sunday night watching a competitive Super Bowl. Buddy, your plans got blown up pretty good.
Yeah.
What was that, man? What happened? They were shorthanded. Our 3 franchise players were available. What happened?
Man, that team
is awesome. Let me complete your sentence.
Awesome. That team is awesome. I think we're really good too.
Yeah.
Not against that team. Not against that team. They defend. They make you pay for mistakes.
They do everything.
They do everything.
They're great.
Like Roser said it when we were doing the post game, and it's so true. Like 1 through 5, whoever's on the lineup for them, they can all defend, all of them. And they didn't even have 2 of their guys last night, on Saturday night.
Yeah, they can guard you, and they didn't even have Chet Holmgren.
Right. Like everyone in their lineup at all times guards. So that's a big problem. And then the Grizzlies, they turnovers led to buckets for the seriously, and then the second chance baskets too. It seems like OKC was getting every offensive rebound, and I swear to God, every time they got an offensive rebound, it led to a wide open 3-pointer for that team. That's what it felt like all night watching that game.
Lost by 13, but down by 28.
Yeah,
lost by 13, down by 28. You've got it right. Hey, the Grizzlies are good.
Yes,
it's still second in the West.
That's right.
So you can still accurately say this. I think the Grizzlies are the second best team in the West. The Grizzlies are a top 2 team in the West. That's great. But they're not the best. That's clear.
No.
We can stop lying to ourselves about that. I'm not saying the Grizzlies can't beat the Thunder in a 7-game series, but if you tried to convince me that they could, you would just be talking. You wouldn't have anything to support it. There's nothing to support it.
Right.
You would just be like, I believe. Grit and grind. But
Yes.
you wouldn't really be able to support it. There's no data that tells you you're better than that team right now.
Yeah, I still get to play them 2 more times, so those will be really interesting. But yeah, I mean that was pretty tough. That was pretty tough on Saturday. And Ja's dad got ejected. That was wild.
It's just I don't know what to say about that other than I always frame things this way.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to figure out whether something's okay or not, normal or not, good or bad, I always frame it this way. Tell me the last time you remember an NBA player's dad getting thrown out of the game.
Yeah, now...
You ready for this? Everybody watching this show right now knows who John Morant's dad is.
Mm-hmm.
Should we?
Okay, but what
do you know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's dad?
I don't think so.
Does anybody?
Now, I will say, if he got thrown out of that game for saying the fix is in, that is some BS to me. I mean, people say stuff like that to refs all the time. I think that's lame. And there is history. That official's thrown out Ja before. I don't know, man. I watched it all happen, and I thought it was pretty lame. I'm just going to be honest with you.
It's fine. I don't know. I
thought it was lame.
It's just a story that there's not another story like it in any market in the NBA that I know of. Coming out of college, people talked about Lonzo Ball and LaMelo Ball, and if their father would be an issue if you brought them into your franchise. And I can't even tell you the last time I saw LeVar Ball on TV or heard anything about him. I think that's the way it mostly is in the NBA, in professional sports. Like, do you know Shohei Ohtani's dad? I'm asking, do you know Shohei Ohtani's dad?
I don't.
Right. Yeah, Jalen Hurts' dad. What's his name? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, that was the second bad thing on a night of bad things. Like, first you lose the game, and then you got to deal with that type of stuff. Hey, let's focus on the good. 35-17, still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think this week's going to be interesting heading into the All-Star break because you're going to play, look, we both acknowledge, that team, if we're starting a playoff series right now against that team, I don't feel good about it at all, okay? But, luckily for the Grizzlies, if things end the way that they're standing right now, you wouldn't have to play them to the Western Conference Finals. So, that's the good news. The 2 teams that you're playing next are teams that you could very well see in the first round of a playoff series in the Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers. I think we're going to learn a lot over these next 2 games, and it would be Saturday was bad. It would be even worse going into All-Star break on a 3-game losing streak. So you got to regroup because you're going against teams coming up that, again, you could see in a playoff series. How do you stack up against them? Because everyone wants to see this team win a first-round playoff series, right? Like, I think people would feel disappointed if this team. I think the majority of the fan base would feel very disappointed if this team lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Sure.
Yeah.
That would be a disappointment.
Yeah. And so we're going to learn a lot, I think, this week heading into All-Star.
Last thing I'll say on this, and specifically about the Thunder, there's this narrative that it exists in NBA circles that you can't just go from where they've been to the title just like that. Although the Warriors kind of did it once upon a time. People just forget that. But, like, you got to lose to the Pistons a million times before you can become the Michael Jordan Bulls, right? Or there's this path you have to take, and it involves you getting real battle scars before you can ever hold the trophy. That's the Celtics story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this has to be their story. My point being, they're good enough to win the whole thing right now. They can win the whole thing right now. They might not just because only one team can, and who knows. But if you are still just insisting that team hasn't been through enough to win a title, you're just not watching what's in front of you. Or you're just a real hater.
No, that's very true.
They're good. They can win the whole thing this year. They can win it all this season.
And their star does not get phased. Like Shea, that you can't get under his skin. That's another thing. Like you cannot get under that. He's pretty calm and collected. Yeah.
He might be headed. He might be headed for an MVP.
Yeah.
He might be headed for an MVP, and I don't know that that'll ever lead to anybody saying he's actually the best player in the world, but. This is the way we, very few people think. I mean, we're doing quarterback rankings, maybe not after last night, but people will still put Patrick Mahomes ahead of Josh Allen, right?
Right.
But Josh Allen just won an MVP because people felt like he had the best. I know it's debatable because of Lamar Jackson, but people decided it's two different questions. Who's the best quarterback? Patrick Mahomes. Who's had the best season? Josh Allen, MVP. Okay. You could be the MVP without being the best player, and that might be where we're headed with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He can win an MVP award. People won't call him the best player in the world, but he can win an MVP award and lead a team to a championship. All of that stuff's on the table right now.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Penny's Tigers won again yesterday, 90-82. Final score inside FedEx Forum to improve to 20-4 overall, 10-1 in the AAC. No Tyrese Hunter, no problem, because you still got PJ Haggerty. He was 8 of 15 from the field. 20 points, leads the team in scoring once again. So I'm not going to contradict myself. I've been telling you for a while, after watching Memphis fall apart last season in the AAC, after doing well in the non-league and getting up to 10th in the AP poll, that I'm not going to nitpick wins. Just win games and keep it moving. Get to the NCAA tournament, let's see what's up. So I'm not going to nitpick wins. But when other people say things like, but they're not playing well, there's some truth to that. They're not wrong. They're not playing well. They are sliding in the computers, consistently sliding in the computers. Memphis won again yesterday and dropped in the KenPom rankings. Memphis won again yesterday and dropped in the net. Memphis is now 45th in the net and 44th at KenPom. Do you know that the Tigers at one point this season were up to 27th at KenPom? And they've been winning way more often than they've lost, but they've been dropping nearly 20 spots while winning. And what that tells you is that, not to oversimplify it, but this is the simplest way to frame it, they are not performing well against poor competition. They're these teams that they should be beating by 15, they're beating by 7. Teams they should be beating by 22, they're beating by 11. Still winning the games, maintaining their AP ranking, but it is hurting them in the computers. Ultimately, I don't think it'll matter much when it comes to seeding because the resume is going to be pretty strong based on what they did in the non-league portion of their schedule. But that committee is filled with humans, and it's easier for the humans to justify giving you a 4 seed if you have computer numbers to support that. There will be somebody in the committee room who will, let's just say we're doing it right now. And we'll see where Memphis is in the AP poll when it updates later today. But based on the way the committee normally does it, Memphis's AP ranking is not going to line up with its seed. Based on where Memphis is ranked in the AP poll right now, there's a chance that it's just not going to match up with the seed. And when a selection committee member tries to explain that, what they will point to is KenPom, net, and other predictive metrics that suggest you've won a lot of games, but you're not actually one of the best college basketball teams in the country. When it comes to me ranking basketball teams, I'm just looking at the resume. I don't care how efficient you were. I don't care where you're at KenPom or in any other computer. I'm just looking, for the most part, I'm just looking at what have you done. And when you look at what has Memphis done, it's pretty good. But they will have people arguing against them if they don't improve these computer numbers. Not from an admission perspective, but from a seeding perspective. Somebody will say, I think this team should be a 3 seed, and somebody else is going to come up and yell, well, they're in the 40s at KenPom. They're in the 40s of the net. We need to discuss that. So not the biggest deal in the world, but it is something you're going to have a conversation about. So it would be better going forward. Yeah, keep winning the games. That's the most important thing. But it is important to perform better in these games, to be more efficient in these games. Like, this stuff does matter to some degree. And if you are interested in nitpicking what the Tigers are doing right now, that's the trend that is developing. They're winning, sure, great. But they are not performing to the level at which they need to perform to move up in the computers while winning as opposed to moving down.
Number 3.
Elsewhere in college basketball this weekend, wild Saturday. Number 1, Auburn lost. Number 2, Duke lost. Auburn at home to Florida. Duke on the road to Clemson. And as I was watching college basketball on Saturday, just as soon as Auburn lost, it didn't matter what game I was watching. Either the play-by-play guy or the color commentator would say something like, and there's going to be a new number 1 in the AP poll on Monday. And I was like, this is just something they're saying because they assume that's usually the way it goes? Or has any of these people put actual thought into it? Because here's the truth, and we'll find out soon. There should not be a new number 1 in the AP poll. It should be Auburn still. And I know that people have this weird thing where if you're number 1 and you lose, you can't be number 1 anymore. Because that is usually the way it works. But Auburn is so far ahead of the field in terms of body of work that even with that loss, and frankly, they could maybe take another one and still be the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Like, that's how. So what I try to tell people who follow this stuff, don't think of Auburn as a basketball team. If you're trying to understand why Auburn should still be number 1 in the AP poll, think of Auburn as a golfer. Think of this basketball season as a golf tournament. Yeah, Auburn bogeyed. Continuing with the analogy, Auburn bogeyed its last hole, while other people chasing Auburn birdied or parred. And that closes the gap between them and Auburn, but it just closes the gap some. It doesn't eliminate it. Auburn still would have like a 4 or 5 shot lead over the field, even after a bogey at home against Florida. So I don't know what's going to happen with the AP poll. I'm not in control of AP voters or the AP poll. But if they know what they're doing, they will just leave Auburn number 1. There is no sensible argument for anybody else. Let me give you some numbers real quick. Auburn right now is 12-2 in Quadrant 1. 12-2. Nobody else has more than 8 Quadrant 1 wins. So Auburn has 4 more Quadrant 1 wins than anybody else in the country and fewer losses than anybody else that's ranked anywhere. So what do you look at the win column? They got more awesome wins than anybody. Look at the loss column. They got fewer losses than anybody that should even be in this conversation. What are we talking about? If the tournament started today, Auburn would be the number 1 overall seed. Auburn should also be number 1 in the AP poll. If AP voters know what they're doing, that's what will happen later today. If not, then somebody besides Auburn would be number 1, probably Alabama.
Number 4.
Oh, it went from bad to worse in Dallas. It went from bad to worse in Dallas. Whew. As you know, the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic nonsensically to the Los Angeles Lakers.
They did.
And the fan base has been not rioting, but close to it. They're ready to riot.
They're protesting.
They're protesting.
Yes.
Peacefully.
Yeah, there's a peaceful protest.
It's a peaceful protest outside of the arena. The Mavericks have had to hire security for Nico Harrison at home games. Think about this. You just made a deal where your own fans want to murder you. Okay.
Eesh.
And then he talks about it, and he makes no sense when he's talking about it. And that was bad. And still, there was a chance he could get the last laugh. And I guess there still is, but it ain't off to a great start. The last laugh would be if somehow, some way, Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis and the Mavericks do actually win a championship. Then you can get the last laugh. I'm not predicting that. This guy's legacy will be exactly what we both think it is, and he will be fired before you and me. All right? We'll have this job longer than he has that one, I hope. But, like, you could still hold on to, I'll show him, you know? And then you bring in Anthony Davis in game 1, he gets hurt, he's out for multiple weeks.
Dude, can you imagine, like, the ups and downs of Nico Harrison's Saturday? Obviously, you get there, and there's, like, the protest outside of the arena, right? And then the game starts, and Anthony Davis is going off.
Oh, yeah.
He is yelling, I'm in this, I'm here, going off.
Oh, that first half was amazing.
And then he gets hurt on a non-contact injury, and it's like, that's who you traded for.
Well, that's the
guy. Because
thing.
I mean, that's what everybody says is, okay, yeah, he's great when he plays.
And it's just why the whole thing is insane. You traded a 25-year-old generational talent in part because you don't think he's in shape enough or healthy enough consistently to be what it is you need him to be, while totally disregarding the fact that he took you to the NBA Finals less than a year ago. Even out of shape, undisciplined Luka Doncic, if that's what you're telling me he is, took you to the NBA Finals less than a year ago. All right? But whatever. That's what you made a bet. And here's their bet. This is ultimately the bet they made. And by they, I mean Nico Harrison. Giving $345 million to Luka Doncic is not going to be a good investment. He's not going to stay in shape. He's not going to be healthy enough. And this will be our version of the Joel Embiid contract in Philadelphia, the Kawhi Leonard contract. Like, you give all these money to these people because you feel like you just have to. But ask Philadelphia right now if they would undo it if they could. They might. Ask the Clippers if they would undo Kawhi. If they could, they might. So let's just not even get involved in it. Let's move on. That's how they got there. All right? And I guess with a spreadsheet and a super smart analytics, I bet you somebody could show you how that's not the dumbest thing in the world. I bet you somebody could show that to you on paper. The problem, of course, is that you could spend 50 minutes explaining to me why you didn't think a future with Luka Doncic was smart. But then you got to get to the part of the story where you decided to trade him for Anthony Davis, who's never healthy either.
Right.
7 years older and also constantly banged up. So that's where even if your logic is sound up until a point, you lose me when you do the deal you did. Let me be clear. I think it's insane to trade Luka Doncic. Absolutely insane. Unless you're getting another 25 or younger superstar, you shouldn't even talk about it. Like, the list of people I would even listen to about Luka Doncic is so small. It starts with Victor Wembanyama, and it's not long. And Anthony Davis ain't nowhere on it. 7 years older, similarly banged up all the time. You got to get rid of Luka Doncic because you don't believe he's reliable, and your solution is Anthony Davis? I ain't rooting for that, but I did think it was hilarious. And poor Nico Harrison.
Oh.
He'll never recover from this. Him and Drake, man. Him and Drake.
Yeah, maybe so.
Him and Drake will never.
That's tough,
they
man.
need to be friends because they have something in common. Nico Harrison and Drake. I knew I could connect this stuff. Their lives have been turned upside down completely. Their lives will never be the same because of a decision they made that they didn't have to make.
Right.
Think about how weird that must be.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Did you see the videos of Drake this weekend? He's in Australia.
I did, yeah.
He just, like, left the continent. He's not even here. He, like, went off and tried to pretend there's another world, there's another planet in Australia where maybe I can escape all this. Except in Australia, you know, they got not like us down there, too. So here's Drake, the biggest star in the world at a time. And he picks a fight that he should have never picked.
Mm-hmm.
He picked a fight with a Pulitzer Prize winner and got destroyed. And he goes to Australia to try to escape it in some weird way. And did you see the videos this weekend? He's like at a beach party.
That's all.
And they're playing Squabble Up, and he's getting mocked. This guy used to go to beach parties, and people are trying to get close to him. Now you got 20-year-olds just making fun of you to your face. His life will never be the same because he picked a fight he didn't need to pick. Because he did something he didn't have to do. Hey, man, you could just leave this alone. Let Kendrick say, MF the big three is just big me, and just keep it moving. You ain't got to respond. Don't say nothing. And your life is fine. Great even. But, boom. And now his life will never be the same. Nico Harrison, same thing.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do this. His life will never be the same because he did something he didn't have to do. There's a lesson in there somewhere. We'll explore it more later.
Okay.
Number 5.
Okay, Bennett. Big movie night last night. Super Bowl, all the commercials, all these new trailers. I don't even think I noticed one of them.
I'm glad you gave me this moment. The thing that I love about the Super Bowl is the fact that that game was over in like the first. It was over in the first quarter, probably.
Felt that way.
Yeah. And you can still just watch the whole thing and enjoy it, right? Like I had a blast watching everything. I'm the dude. I'm here for all the commercials and the movie trailers and all that kind of stuff. Like a halftime show. I love it all. Did you have a favorite commercial, by the way? Those don't stand out as much as they used to.
I think I'm the weirdo.
What do you mean? You don't care?
I just don't care.
I got you.
I figure like if it's a great one, I'll see it eventually on my computer or phone, and I just don't get caught up in. Like when it's time for me to go get another drink or go get a chip and dip.
Yeah.
I don't leave the football game. I leave the commercials.
Yeah, I thought the Michelob Ultra one was pretty good. Barry Keoghan, they did the Banshees of Inisherin. It was for Squarespace, I believe. There were some good ones, but nothing great. But we did have a bunch of big movie trailers, and you know I love movies. I think the biggest one probably that people hadn't really seen yet was Thunderbolts. That's the new Marvel movie. Are you familiar with the Thunderbolts? They're like the anti-heroes. They're kind of like the anti-heroes banding together to fight evil. Like they're kind of like Marvel's equivalent of the Suicide Squad, if you will.
Well, I'm glad they're doing that, but I was unaware.
So that one was interesting. You had Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. This is the Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise.
Well, it's about time.
Final time is Ethan Hunt, which he's in his 60s, still beating people's ass. That's pretty cool.
Never seen any of the Mission Impossible movies.
They're fun, man. They're fun. Like I respect the hell out of Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
I do.
Look,
I got a lot of respect.
There's a place in this world for just fun movies.
Tom Cruise cares about movies and the movie theater industry, and I respect him for that.
Tom Cruise.
I respect Tom Cruise for that. Okay, you got Jurassic World Rebirth starring Scarlett Johansson, which looks pretty cool. I mean, I think that people are a little sick of the Jurassic Park movies. They're a little watered down, but now you got a big star attached to the new one.
I did see that trailer.
Yeah.
And it looked not great.
I love the director, Gareth Edwards. Like, I actually think this one has potential. The last two Jurassic World movies sucked. They were bad.
This thought actually went through my head. If you're Scarlett Johansson and that trailer comes on during the Super Bowl, are you proud?
Yeah.
Do you feel like everybody's looking at you like, I guess you needed a paycheck?
So the reason I think this is cool and I'm excited about this is because that's a big star for them to get for the Jurassic World series. And she wanted that. She was a big Jurassic Park fan when she was younger. She went to them saying, hey, I want to be in a Jurassic World movie. So I think that's kind of cool. You got the live action How to Train Your Dragon. My kids love the cartoon, so that's interesting. Megan 2.0 about the scary doll. F1 starring Brad Pitt. We're getting an F1 movie with Brad Pitt that it'll probably get some awards buzz once that comes around. The trailer looked good.
Okay.
And then this was one that the reason I brought this, not movies but TVs. Did you keep seeing the ads for the Martin Scorsese presents The Saints? It's like a medieval biblical wars. It's airing on Fox Nation. And I was like, why do they keep saying Martin Scorsese presents this show on Fox Nation? Like I thought he was a movie, I didn't know that he was involved in like television. So they showed that ad a million times. So I'm curious like what that even is, because it was very vague, but it looks interesting. Other than that, that's really all I got. I think honestly, down year for the movie trailers.
Well,
I'll say down year for the movie trailers.
I'm sorry that it disappointed you, but if Scarlett Johansson wanted to be in a Jurassic Park movie. It's fine with me.
That's the one I'm the most excited about.
I didn't mean to be so dismissive of her career choices. If this is something she wanted to do, then I'm happy she's doing it, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Good for her.
Long live cinema.
Long live cinema, Bennett
Go
says.
to your local movie theater.
Go to your local movie theaters. When's the last time?
Buy a Blu-ray.
Well, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Buy a Blu-ray.
I think I still
today.
I think I probably still have one somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where my Blu-rays are. Yeah, it's fine. I can just stream it, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
I can just stream.
You're part of the problem.
I'm filled. Bennett, you're hitting a little too close to home.
Physical media forever.
I'm starting to feel like part of the problem, you know?
Yeah.
I think I might be part of the problem. Be back in a second.
So these are a pair of Kobe 11 Elite Low. These were part of a collaboration with FC Barcelona.
I've never seen these in person. The detail on these are amazing.
It's Flyknit, like, you know, the front of the shoe is Flyknit. It's got the lunar line, I remember, and the
insole is removable.
Yeah. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
How about them
How
Tigers?
about
Go
the
Tigers. Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Sitting right next to me, am I right? The one and only Jay Huff. Were you comfortable there in your seat?
I'm great. You know, I've been adjusting it, playing around with the height settings.
What are you exactly? 7'1" or 7 even? Or
I
what is
say
it?
7'2" because I wear shoes.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
If I was a high school player, or if, let's say I'm the father of a child who's 16 years old, and Mike Vick comes knocking on my kid's door, and Virginia's there also, and so is Virginia Tech, I'm like, yo, you gotta go where Vick is. You gotta go to Norfolk State.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time.
What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Is Hulkamania officially dead?
Yes.
When you have over 17,000 people live and you have Netflix premiere the biggest day in WWE history, and meanwhile they boo him out of the building?
Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you!
That is your core audience, and they don't want it.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Busy weekend in sports, busy weekend at FedEx Forum. Not only did we have Grizz Thunder on Saturday night, we had WWE Smackdown on Friday night. Bennett, I know you were there. We were there. You have a good time. We had a good time.
It was so good. It was so good.
So good.
Everything about it was so good. We got some seats last minute up top, and I'll be honest, man, it was a blast in the terrace. You called me and was like, hey, I got an extra ticket. And I know you had some good seats. And I thought I was on my way down to the arena with Noah, and I was like, damn, I should turn around and leave this little dude behind and go sit front row. But I was like, no.
I had four tickets from me and my little boys and my wife. She got sick. We've all been sick to different degrees. She was the sickest. So she was not able to go, and I had a 4 ticket, and I was like, I'll see if Bennett wants to go. And I felt weird even calling because it's like, I'm literally asking you if you want to leave your son at home. Hey, if you want to go, but you can't bring your boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe he's asleep or sick, who knows? And Bennett just wants to go. So tell me if this is weird or not. Here's what I did. I had good intention, but anyway, I have an extra ticket all of a sudden to, like, on the floor. We had good seats. And I just have an extra ticket. And I said, okay, like, I don't want to just waste this. Maybe I can do something nice. And so I'm just sort of lingering by the ticket office, by Wilcaw. And I see a young man walk up to the ticket window by himself. And I approached him, and I think I startled him a little bit because I was like, hey, excuse me. And he was like, and I said, hey, are you buying a ticket right now? And he said, yeah. And I said, are you here by yourself? And he said, yeah. And I said, you want to sit on the second row? And he was like, I don't. And I was like, no, I got it. Put your money back in your pocket. Just walk with me. And I took him in. And then I felt like a predator.
No, dude, that is not predatorial. That is cool. That's the right thing to do. You can't let that ticket go to waste. You got to find somebody and make their day. That was the right move.
And I just brought this random. At some point,
was he cool?
We didn't really. That was basically the end of our conversation. But I did at some point. I was
Show
like,
some appreciation, bro.
I think it was a little. I don't know what it was.
He probably didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was young.
Yeah.
And at one point, I even asked. I said, "Hey, how old are you?" Because I did like, I don't want to get into any sort of weird stuff here.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm 21." I said, "Okay." I was like, "Yo." Yeah. And I couldn't figure out how to transfer the ticket to him. So then I was like, "Can I just like take a picture of it so you know where you're sitting?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, give me your number." And I was like, "Now I'm asking for a young guy." I just felt weird, but I was trying to do a nice thing, and I still think I did. But in the moment, I felt a little predator. I felt like a predator. Anyway, we had a blast, and my boys. You might have seen this on social media because I tweeted it. My boys got to meet Cody Rhodes. Kyra's got the picture. Cody Rhodes, the Universal Champion.
Oh, nice.
He took the time. Look at my little guys right there in the front. That's Zach Myers' boys right there behind him.
Yeah.
Zach Myers' boys. They all look like they could be brothers, I guess. Zach Myers' boys were there right beside us. And so after the show was over, Cody came over and he was willing to take selfies and sign for any kid that wanted him to. And I told Jess this morning. My favorite thing about that picture, like, take Cody Rhodes out of it. My boys are both smiling at the same time. They're almost never both smiling at the same time in a picture. Like on principle. If one of them smiles, the other one feels like he has to not smile, right? Except, smiling is involuntary. if you want, you can't help when you're excited. You smile. You can't help it. And that's them meeting. Like I look
the GOAT.
I look at them, and it's like if I would have met Ric Flair when I was their age, or Hulk Hogan,
right,
or Jerry Lawler. Frankly, that's what that was for them. That's them meeting Patrick Mahomes. That's me meeting Dwight Gooden. And so I just thought it was an awesome thing. Like they'll have that. They'll remember that forever. They might not be wrestling fans forever, but they'll have that forever.
Dude, WWE, they know how to do it, man. I like kudos to that company because they just know how to put on a hell of a show. Like that was a blast.
It was
on
just fun.
Friday.
It's just fun.
I got video of us yeeting in the up in the upper deck.
It's just me, Oos.
Let's go.
It was a party. Look at it.
Okay, Noah, go Noah. Let's go.
I think Noah might be a better yeeter than
dude.
He's pretty good.
It was so good.
He could yeet better than I can.
And dude, I think it was like the longest yeet in history. Like he went through the commercial break, came back, we were still
it's a
yeeting.
3-hour show, and like 30 minutes of it was that.
Just that, and everyone loved it. No one got sick of it ever.
I don't even think they had an intention of doing that as long as they did it.
No.
I think he just is like, all right, this is still happening.
Yeah, every time you thought it was going to end, it was like, no, we're doing it again.
Well,
let's
it was just
go.
like, are they still doing this? Let's do it. All right, then let's go. Let's just keep. It reminded me of like Jay and Kanye when they would play that one song that I can't say the title, but you could Google it.
Yeah.
They'd play it, then they play it again, then they play it again. And my wife and I saw them, and they like played it 9 times in a row, and I don't think they intended to play it 9 times in a row.
Yeah.
But they played it 9 times in a row just because if people are going to keep reacting the same way, let's just keep. This is a party, and if everybody's having fun with this, let's just keep having fun. And that is what the Jey Uso thing has become.
Yes.
It's just me, Us, has become like everybody's having fun. Why are we stopping it? If everybody wants to do this, if everybody wants to do this one more time, let's do it one more time, and then we might end up doing it 8 more times.
That's right. I heard you and Jess talking about it, and she's not a WWE fan, but she goes every time it comes to FedEx Forum. And has a blast. That's the cool thing about it, dude, is you could go to that on Friday night, not know one thing about any of these wrestlers, what you're going to do. I loved the sign. The WrestleMania sign was sick. I took a million pictures of it.
My boys are yeeting.
Let's go. Got the lucha mask. Let's go.
Yeah, that things go $75 a pop.
But, dude, you could show up to that thing and have no idea what you're about to get into and have a blast. Yeah.
We had a blast.
Yeah, man.
WWE, man, they know how to do it.
They know how to do it, dude. They really do.
It's a fun night. It was a fun night.
It was.
Like, I've never been disappointed at a big WWE show. So, special shouts to everybody who made their way downtown on Friday night. I got to meet some, you meet some new people when you're walking around FedEx Forum. And my boys just had that merchandise table, that'll get you.
Bro, it'll get you. It'll get you. That stuff, yeah. You better bring at least $200 to that merchandise table.
I now own like nearly $200 worth of Rey Mysterio mask.
Yeah.
And I bet you neither one of my boys know where it is right now.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
But it had to have it. And that's the other thing. I just want it to be so perfect for them.
Yeah, you will, yeah.
I don't want to say no to anything.
I know.
So I'm like, I
could get you.
I don't want to say no to anything because I want it to be the best. But that's how you end up with like $200 worth of Rey Mysterio masks.
I'm so glad we ended up going. It was kind of like last minute, like, no, we're doing this. No, get in the car, let's go. Like it was. I'm glad we did it.
I'm glad you did it too. I'm glad we did it. Special shouts to everybody who was there. I trust you had a good time, and they'll be back because we know how to. Not only do they know how to put on a show, we know how to sport one.
Oh yeah, they love Memphis.
Yeah,
they love coming here.
They come here usually once, twice a year. So bring Smackdown here, bring Raw here. So they'll be back, and when they do, we'll go again. Have a good time again. Be back in a second.
So these are a pair of Kobe 11 Elite Low. These were part of a collaboration with FC Barcelona.
I've never seen these in person. The detail on these are amazing.
It's Flyknit, like, the front of the shoe is Flyknit. It's got the lunar lawn, I remember, and the
insole is removable.
Yeah. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
How about them Tigers? Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well. with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Sitting right next to me, am I right? The one and only Jay Huff. Were you comfortable there in your seat?
I'm great. I've been adjusting it, playing around with the height settings.
What are you exactly? 7'1" or 7 even? Or
I say 7'2" because I wear shoes.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping. It's gonna be crazy. The fans are gonna be loud. We need just energy.
We're gonna need, the form rocking. We're gonna need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane three, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
I did a video and I thought it was pretty funny, and I said, well, I'm gonna post it on TikTok and see what it does. We watched Alabama beat Miami. We had no idea the video was blowing up the whole time we were beating Miami, or we would have kept doing it. Yeah. So I told the Tide roll. The Tide, tell them, Willie. Tide roll, baby. That's what they do. We always gonna get beat because you cannot mess with the Tide.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Is Hulkamania officially dead?
Yes.
When you have over 17,000 people live and you have Netflix premiere the biggest day in WWE history, and meanwhile they boo him out of the building?
Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you!
That is your core audience, and they don't want it.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
When's the last time you guys played a little one-on-one?
It was, I don't even know, like maybe last summer, and there's some footage out there that doesn't want to be released. Like, he claims he took it easy on me, but I always beat him.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're in the Built Ford Tough studio. A busy weekend between wrestling and Super Bowl and Grizz Thunder and college basketball. Sort of easy to get overshadowed, but there was an unusual NBA story that became public knowledge late Saturday night, and that is the big trade you heard about, not the biggest trade, but a trade you heard about between the Lakers and Hornets. It got nixed because Mark Williams supposed to be the center of the future in Los Angeles, failed his physical. It's not related to the back, and so they just undo it. Usually with these types of things, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But in this one, they're just really sending Dalton Knecht back to Los Angeles and Mark Williams back to Charlotte. Hey, guys, welcome back. Kind of a weird deal.
No, it must have, this happened kind of during the Grizzlies game. Like we were, or before it, we were talking about it on Saturday night. And it must have been one of those things because, like you said, typically, once this is done, you're going to figure it out.
Throw me another pick or something.
Yeah, give us a second-round pick, whatever. It must be a situation where the Lakers are like, this dude might not be able to play for us.
That's
like,
right.
This could be a long-term issue. And, man, I saw Charlotte put out, like, some kind of post.
Just weird.
Just weird. I mean, I think that that's a tough spot for that franchise that's obviously not very good. Right. And to be in that situation now where, you're messing up deals like that, that doesn't look good for your organization.
Well, like Charlotte puts out this press release, and it's like, after another team really targeted and seriously pursued one of our players, we decided to make a deal, even though we really love him so much.
Right.
And now he's back, and we still love him just as much as we always did. It's just a weird thing.
Very weird.
At the end of the day, these are all adults. They're all professionals. It's a business. Everybody says they understand that. So if you're Dalton Knecht, you need to understand that. If you're Mark Williams, you need to understand that. Anybody connected to those franchises, just understand that. Like, because I think this can be true. If I were Charlotte sitting down with Mark Williams, or if I was Los Angeles sitting down with Dalton Knecht, I could sell them both on, hey, we still do like you. Mm-hmm. It's just we were in a situation and we had to do what we thought we needed to do in that point. Like if I were the Lakers, here's what I would tell Dalton Knecht. Because I had somebody yesterday ask me, how do you handle this?
I think it's easier for them.
I think it's easier for them, but
LeBron needs a center.
That's right.
Yeah.
You just sit down with Dalton Knecht and you say, here's where we're at. LeBron's 40, you know that.
Yeah.
He ain't got many years left. And we really feel obligated to try to give him his best shot to win another title. And we got to have a starting center.
Mm-hmm.
You see these bums in here?
Right.
We have to have a starting center. And so we were made aware that this thing in Charlotte might be available because they hate him. Like they hate Mark Williams. You saw their color analyst on television went viral.
Yes,
all right.
Right.
So once we realized once we realized they hate their starting center, and we realized that's better than anything we got, and there is a high ceiling to it. The last thing we wanted to do was come off of you. Mm-hmm. But they said you can't do this unless you put Dalton Knecht in. Like, don't ever forget, we're the franchise that picked you.
Yeah.
All right. We like you. How do you know? We brought you here. We could have picked anybody available. We picked you. Mm-hmm. Then because these idiots in Dallas wanted to get off Luka Doncic, suddenly we look up and we got Luka Doncic.
Right.
So it's like, okay, Luka, LeBron, we need a center. We didn't want to get rid of you, but that's the only way we could get a center. They wanted you. You actually should feel good about yourself because here's the truth. We love you, and so do they. That's easy. Mm-hmm. I think you can smooth that one over pretty good. The Mark Williams thing is like, our local color analyst destroyed you. Then we tried to move you, and now welcome back.
Yeah. And now you're stuck.
It's a little tougher, but if I were them, I'd just say, hey, this needs to be a wake-up call for you. Mm-hmm. All right?
Yeah.
We love your potential, but like you're not doing what you need to be doing. You're not. You know that, right? And if he's got any sort of substance to him, he'll say yes. Because Vernon would tell you this, I think. You don't go on the local NBA broadcast and trash.
Right. That was rare to see. Yeah.
Unless you're freed up to do it.
Yeah.
Unless you know nobody important in the franchise is going to call you when you're done with this and ask you why you did what you did.
Yeah.
So if I'm Charlotte, it's a tougher story to tell than the Dalton Knecht story, but there's still a story there. Yes, we tried to move you, and this should be a wake-up call for you. Mm-hmm. We want to be great with you, but you're making us be skeptical that we can be. This needs to be a wake-up call for you.
Yeah.
And if it is, great. And if it's not, then we'll deal with it later. But the Dalton Knecht side of it, I think that's you can smooth that over pretty good.
Yeah, I thought the Mark Williams thing was pretty telling because I sat here when it happened and said, I was like, why would Charlotte want to give him up? Like, I just watched him come in here and drop 38 on the Grizzlies. Like, he appears to be good. Why don't they want that young up-and-coming center?
If you're trying to find the through line through all of this stuff we've been talking about over the past week, I'm not comparing Luka and Mark Williams as players because they're not. But this is the people who have the power to move them out of a franchise got sick of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened in Dallas. Nico Harrison will never recover from this, all right? But that is what happened in Dallas. That he got sick of Luka Doncic. And all the stuff, all we see Luka Doncic do is play basketball. You know what he sees? Everything else.
Yeah.
And he got tired of everything else, and the everything else made him forget that in spite of everything else, you've got one of the great basketball players in the world. But that's what happened. Nico Harrison hates Luka Doncic and let his personal feelings get in the way of the big picture. And in Charlotte, it's a similar thing. If you are from a distance going, I just watched Mark Williams destroy the Grizzlies. He's young. Why are they giving up on him? Because they can't stand him. Because they hate him. Because I could throw out a series of descriptions. I don't know which ones would be true, but I would get it right. Mm-hmm. I could throw out like 10 words: lazy, disrespectful. I could throw out 8 more. And I don't know exactly which ones would hit, but I'd have it covered. I could take that list of words to the Charlotte front office and be like, yeah, that word, those describe him perfectly. I could get the words. I don't know exactly which ones, but I know what list to draw from.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he got moved, and now he's back. So it's awkward. It's awkward.
Very.
But the Lakers, they'll figure out the Dalton Connect thing, and actually might be glad that this didn't go through, and not just because there were people who thought the Lakers made a bad trade. Period. Just like you gave up too much to get what you got. So the Lakers might benefit from this long term, whether they do short term or not. The Charlotte thing, you gotta manage some stuff now.
Yeah.
But the player, this is where they're at. We have a player upset with us. Okay, who is it? The guy we were so upset with that we didn't even want him here anymore anyway. Okay, well, we'll figure that out, or we won't. But like, who cares? This is on him, not us.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out, or they won't. But unusual weekend in the NBA. Big trade, and then nope, everybody go back home. Everybody go back home. Go back to where you came from. We're not going to do this one. Now in Charlotte, they got to figure out, if they don't already know, like how serious is this long-term issue with Mark Williams? Because it's so serious that the Lakers determined we don't want to do this deal anymore. We didn't know it was this bad. We don't want to do this anymore. How bad actually is it? What does that lead to? Details to come. Be back in a second.
How about them
How about the Tigers?
Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Sitting right next to me, am I right? The one and only Jay Huff. Were you comfortable there in your seat?
I'm great. I've been adjusting it, playing around with the height setting.
What are you exactly? 7'1" or 7 even? Or
I say 7'2" because I wear shoes.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
I did a video and I thought it was pretty funny, and I said, well, I'm gonna post it on TikTok and see what it does. You know, we watched Alabama beat Miami. We had no idea the video was blowing up the whole time we were beating Miami, or we would have kept doing it. Yeah. So I told Tide roll. The Tide, tell them, Willie. Tide roll, baby. That's what they do.
We always gonna get beat because you cannot mess with the Tide.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Is Hulkamania officially dead?
Yes.
When you have over 17,000 people live and you have Netflix premiere the biggest day in WWE history, and meanwhile they boo him out of the building?
Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you!
That is your core audience, and they don't want it.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
When's the last time you guys played a little one-on-one?
It was, I don't even know, like maybe last summer, and there's some footage out there that doesn't want to be released. Like, he claims he took it easy on me, but I always beat him.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
How about them
How
Tigers?
about
Go
the
Tigers. Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough studio. Let's wrap this whole thing up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused on the Super Bowl. Went down last night in New Orleans. Eagles blowout over the Chiefs. I don't want to say nobody saw that coming, but it certainly wasn't the conversation going into the game. I think people accurately, with the benefit of hindsight, realized that maybe the Chiefs were a little overvalued because of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the back-to-back Super Bowls. But that team in the season had won a lot of close games, and that might be a bad sign. I think there were people out there who said that. Very few people thought this was a total mismatch. And once the game started, it felt like a complete mismatch. Two different levels of football teams. So congratulations to Philadelphia. They're your Super Bowl champions. And Kansas City, perhaps they'll be back. The betting markets think so. Did you see who the favorite is to win?
Are they the favorites?
At plus 650.
Yeah, they'll retool.
Kansas City Chiefs are your favorite to win next February's Super Bowl, followed by the Bills at plus 700 and the Eagles also at plus 700.
What's today's biggest game?
We'll do college basketball. Let's do Big 12. Baylor at Houston, our old friends, the Houston Cougars.
Big Monday.
Formerly of the AAC, they're now in the Big 12, and they are 19-4 overall, 11-1 in the league. They're hosting Baylor tonight inside the Fertitta Center, Houston, Texas. Houston minus 9.5, totals 134.5. How you going to act?
Bit of a down year for Baylor, right?
15-8 overall, 7-5. They're a preseason top 20 team, and they're unranked right now. So yeah, I would say so.
Go ahead and give me Houston at home. That's a big number, but I'll take it.
Bennett says take the Houston Cougars at home -9.5. Tip-off 8 o'clock. You can watch it on ESPN.
What are we watching on TV?
Well, I'm going to throw on a suit coat here in a second and jump on CBS Sports Network. So you should absolutely watch the Chris Vernon Show, but you should record the Iron College Basketball Podcast on CBS Sports Network because it's coming right up. Channel 221 on DirecTV. We'll be doing an hour, me and Matt Norlander, starting at noon. So, yeah, tape it and get to it when you get to it.
What's the best thing we've read?
I updated the top 25 one again this morning, and I sort of wrote about Auburn on Sunday, but Monday's the day the AP poll updates, and I explained why if AP voters know what they're doing, they should have left Auburn at number 1 in the top 25 and 1. I got all the data to support it. If you haven't read that yet, you can find it cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow will be Tuesday, and we'll look back at Big Monday. North Carolina Clemson, another interesting college basketball game. We'll get you ready for Grizz Suns.
Gonna be a few late nights this week.
Kevin Durant's about to see what he passed on.
That's right.
Oh, Kevin Durant.
Revenge.
Oh, Kevin Durant, you don't want to be a Grizzly? Well, take this. We'll see how it goes. Should be a fun day. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. We'll meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.